So nobody can come in if it closes. Somebody's not near engine.
Om Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururaatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavadvyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. The third verse on our list. Kshipram bhavati dharmatma
Kshipram bhavati dharmatma
Shashvachantim nigacchati Kaunteya pratijanihi Me bhaktah pranashyati. Together once more. Kshipram bhavati dharmatma Shashvachantim nigacchati Kaunteya pratijanihi Me bhaktah pranashyati. What was that?
I thought we had done with this one.
Oh, we had chanted for?
This one.
Yeah, but we haven't fully finished it according to me. So, yes, we did do the translation and we saw the gist of it. There's a little more to unfold and a little more to take us to the next verse, because the beauty of Pratijna Gita is the segue and how the segue from one verse to another, because it's not in the order that is there in the Bhagavad Gita. The order has been deliberately played with and shifted. And so the segue becomes very, very important. Up till now, we have seen, what have we seen? Many things. We have seen that the path that one is on in the form of knowing the truth of the self is very much peppered with obstacles. And while it is easy to say that the obstacles are coming from the significant other, which is what we like to. While it's very easy to say that, but the obstacles are mostly coming from Adhyatma. Atmanam adhikritya tishtati, that which is centered on the I. I told you yesterday that the maxim of Vedanta is what? You spot it, you got it. And so anything that is annoying is if something is annoying, that is because it is scratching something within oneself. And so we saw that these obstacles are mostly in the form of what? They are mostly in the form of diffidence, hesitation, hopelessness, fear, and all other internal blocks. Basically, I don't know how to do this. I cannot do this. I need help. I need to be saved right now. And I need this, I need that, all kinds of things. This is exactly the problem. And so, in addition to Brahma Vidya, and what else is the topic of the Bhagavad Gita? Yoga Shastra, very good. Karma Yoga Shastra. There is a third set of verses, third topic, you may say, that has been culled by Swami Shivananda Maharaj. And what is that? That is the verses of reassurance, because this reassurance is something which is the uh, what should I say, bread and butter of life, without which one cannot move forward. Forget forward, you cannot even get through the day. As soon as one wakes up, one needs reassurance. Am I okay? Yes, you are okay. Am I all right? Am I going to be all right? Yes, you are going to be all right. Somebody has to keep telling that. And if nobody is available, one hires what is called a life coach, and you pay them to tell you that. Now, this is what happens. And so, this is what celebrities do in Hollywood, Bollywood, etc. Sandalwood, so many things. And so, this reassurance, in a way, is very welcome, even coming from the family members and friends, which is why we have a circle of people to reassure us. And it is through a kind of a mutual agreement, unwritten mutual agreement. I scratch you, you scratch me. No, that doesn't sound right. What is that? I scratch your back. That's what it is. Yes. So, this mutual appreciation society is there in everybody's life. I approve of you so that you can approve of me. This is how marriages also take place. Okay, because we need somebody to approve. When? All the time. And so this is the uh, uh, this is the this is the uh, this is the crux of the need. But then it doesn't always work out like that, does it? Anybody who's married can tell you what happens if you depend upon the significant other for approval. What happens? Nothing. That's the answer. Nothing happens. So, for validation, we keep looking to other sources for validation, and we keep expanding and hoping that somebody will be there to validate. And what does the Bhagavad Gita do? It puts us on a diet of bhakti so that we can look to validation from Bhagavan. This is a very, very important weaning process. Like the child is weaned at some stage, and the child is weaned off the mother's milk, and finally solid food is given, or at least in the interim some what is that, feeding bottle is given, and then the solid food is given, and the weaning has to take place. And it is a natural outcome of the growth cycle. Similarly, just as in the physical growth cycle there is a weaning process, so too in the mental and spiritual growth cycle, in the internal growth cycle, there has to be what? A, a process of weaning ourselves from hanging our future on to the validation from all sorts of people, situation and things, because the more we expose ourselves to gain validation from external sources, it is a, what should I say, it is a recipe for samsara. Why? Because one is bound to be disappointed. The one you want to validate, you want validation from whom, that person turns out to be more critical. Why? Karma. That's all. That's all. Karma. You want somebody to validate you, and then you say, oh, this person looks good, except the person that one selected is hypercritical, more critical of you than you are of yourself. This is a very critical thing. And so, therefore, the Bhagavad Gita giving the vision in right in the beginning, in the second chapter. It just tells you in short, succinctly, what is the person of knowledge. How is the person of knowledge distinguished from all the other people in the world? And in just one phrase, it says, Atmani eva Atmana tushtaha. Atmani tushtaha. By one, in oneself, one is happy. Atmana tushtaha. By oneself, one is happy. You don't need anything ever to manufacture this happiness. You don't need anybody. You don't, in other words, need anybody for validation. Then immediately we say what? I want that. I want to be Atmani and Atmana what? Tushta. I want to be Tushta means content, which is what this knowledge is all about. It is all about contentment. So Atmani Tushtaha, Atmana Tushtaha, this is who I am, this is who I want to be. It sounds wonderful. So how do we get there, and how do we drop the need for validation? This is what this set of 8 verses is in the process of telling us that. So first it told us, catch on, latch on to Karma Yoga. Go after what? Wean yourself first from Raga Dvesha fulfillment, grow to Raga Dvesha management. So this is the, what is that, point number 1. We saw this yesterday. This is just a summary. Go from Raga Dvesha fulfillment, grow to Raga Dvesha management rather than fulfillment. And then what? Put everything on Bhagavan. Bhagavan is the doer. Bhagavan is the giver of the results of action. And if Bhagavan is the giver of the results of action, I don't have to get stressed out. I don't have to worry. I don't have to think about the future as much. I can just be. And I can know that there will be what? There will be answers. I will be taken care of. This is what I have to know. This is what I have to understand. This is exactly what the first step is. And the second step is, don't get stuck with a resource. Resource means one is being resourceful, means what? One is looking for some resources. I want to depend on this person. I want to depend on this thing. I want to depend on that situation. I want to depend on this event. This is looking for various resources to keep me happy, to keep me entertained, to keep me engaged, above all, to keep me validated and secure. The Bhagavad Gita urges us not to stick with resource, but go to the source. And what is the source? Ishvara, Bhagavan, naturally. Why stop at the effect? Go to the cause. Go to the cause because that is the root cause. That is where everything comes from, including my karma phala. And so instead of lamenting over why my karma is like this, let us be proactive and be prayerful. Being prayerful is being proactive because prayer is an action. And usually, if there is frustration, that means that a wish that is not being attended to becomes a cause for frustration. A wish that is not being acted upon becomes a cause for frustration. So all the leftover raga dveshas, which I'm not acting on, becomes a cause of frustration. Prayer is an action, and through prayer, I act on my own behalf. This is a very, what should I say, targeted form of agency. My agency is solely devoted to freeing the will where it is completely captured by and held hostage by various ragas and dveshas. I free the will by directing it to prayer. In prayer alone, the will is free. This is something Pujya Swamiji has always emphasized. And if you ask why, we see that all the choices that are made in this world are coming from a place of bondage, not freedom. The choices I make are vitiated by various problems, and those problems are mainly two in number, raga and dvesha. Only in prayer the will is free, and also in giving actions, purta karma and ishta karma. So ishta karma, prayer and rituals, etc., and then purta karma, reaching out actions, giving donations, giving charity, building, helping build things in the universe, etc. That is also a place where the will is free. These are the only two places. And even the giving sometimes has a little lesha, a kind of a veneer, a patina of some self interest, perhaps we can say. But in prayer, the will is totally free because one doesn't have to pray. One can go rob a bank, one can curse at other people, one can do many, many things. But prayer, the will is free. So here, the prayer is emphasized in these verses because I am leaning on Bhagavan instead of leaning on people, situation, things, and events external to me. I go to the source of all these things, which is Bhagavan. I learn to lean on Bhagavan. This much we have seen. And then what happens? Kshipram bhavati dharmatma. A person becomes one who does not flout dharma. Shashvat chantim nigachati. Okay? And then becomes a person who is ready for this knowledge. Because that readiness, without the readiness, the teaching will not come. And why will it not come? Because it's like a plane going overhead. Lot of noise, but no meaning, no way to do. Avatarana means assimilate in my own life. And so the readiness is important. And all this, including the bhakti, etc., these are all interim steps to gain this readiness. And equipped with this readiness, the person becomes an embodiment of dharma, like we saw yesterday, Dasharatha, etc. And then, as a result, Guru Prapti takes place, knowledge takes place, and then lasting contentment, which is now described as Shanti. Shanti means what? There are two kinds of Shanti we saw yesterday. One is that I am not disturbed because I have prayed for non disturbance. There is a relative sense of Shanti. And then what is the other one? Absolute Shanti. Why? Because I have understood there is no other thing in the universe than I to cause disturbance. To cause disturbance, there should be something other than me. Anatma should be there. Anatma is not there. In the beginning, we make a, what is that, Vedanta 101, we make a distinction, Atma and Anatma. Never the two should be mixed up. But then later on, what? Atma, Anatma resolves into Atma. Effect resolves into cause. Cause is irresolute. Cause does not resolve into effect. Cause is cause, and in fact, we even learn that the causality is as though superimposed on this which is free of cause, free of effect. This is where we are headed. And so, but we cannot just get there. This is a very beautiful step by step journey where one is less and less people oriented, less and less object oriented, event oriented, circumstance oriented, and more Bhagavad oriented, Ishvara oriented. This is what we have to understand. And then, so therefore, the bhakti is highlighted as a preamble to mukti. Without bhakti, there is no mukti because the bhakti gives the qualifications, very important qualification of shraddha, shamadama, all these things. Six pack. Shamadama, uparati, titiksha, shraddha, samadhanam. And then, of course, viveka vairagya, mamukshutvam. All these things are extremely important to assimilate. Without this assimilation, there can be no hope. We can kiss self-knowledge goodbye. That is what we can do. And so here, so Kaunteya, Pratijanihi, may you know this. May you know this completely. And what may you know? That Name Bhaktaha Pranashyat. My Bhakta is never destroyed. This is very reassuring, correct? This is extremely reassuring. If I am a Bhakta, I'm not destroyed. This is fantastic. What more do we need? Nothing. In fact, we can say Purnamadaha, Purnamidam right now. But we won't. Why? There are certain lingering questions. Because if it had stopped at bhakti, then I would be okay. But it went further along to give the whole vision. Kshipram bhavati dharmatma shashvat chantim nigacchati. Then gaining this bhakti, the person is free. Person gains freedom as a result of pursuing the knowledge. Here is where the rub is. Here is where the rub is. And what is that rub? That rub is, okay, I have to pursue Vedanta. That means what? Retreats, classes, day after day, week after week. All the weekends gone. And then what? I don't find anything happening. I still get angry. I still get hungry. And when I'm hungry, I get hangry. Okay? New word. Angry means when I'm hungry and I don't understand that I'm hungry. And then I get angry because I'm hungry. So what is that word? Angry. So this is a very difficult predicament because here I am told to just plunge into Vedanta. Vedanta is the study of Vedanta is the highest form of prayer. This is what it is said in the Upanishads. It's the highest form of worship. It's the highest form of prayer where the bhakti transforms itself into Shravanam and then yields the dividends in the form of discovering myself, rediscovering myself as an appreciative, non-complaining, what else? Objective, contented, non-judgmental person. So this is a lot, correct? And if this is to be my lot, what am I supposed to do here? Who is going to pay the bills? And they say Vedanta is very catching. And one retreat you go, you feel like attending more and more and more. And then pretty soon you're having them in your own house. And then one thing leading to another. Who is going to take care of me? Who is going to take care of the bills? Who is going to take care of the family? There is this pervasive delusion. And what is the delusion? Vedanta and family life do not go together. This is despite Pujya Swamiji and other saints like him spending decades after decades after decades, busting this myth completely. Still there is that delusion. Still there is that feeling that it will take me away from the people and the things and the roles that I love. The roles that I love to play in life, excuse me, will be taken away because this pursuit is all encompassing. And therefore, there is need for a new kind of reassurance. Name bhaktah pranashyati, My bhakta is never destroyed. Okay, that's okay. Nice. It's nice to hear. But you're telling me to not just be a bhakta. You're telling me to pursue this bhakti. What kind of bhakti? The bhakti is transformed into knowing myself as non-separate from the Lord rather than catching on to the Lord as a source of uh, gaining all the things. You are asking me to graduate from seeing or looking at Bhagavan as a means to an end, which I'm comfortable with. That is what I understand by bhakti. I have been asked now to graduate to seeing Bhagavan as the end in itself. Please recall the 4 kinds of bhaktas that were talked about in the Bhagavad Gita. What are they? First one, Artha 911 Bhakta. Yeah, just like we have 911 on speed dial, they have Bhagavan on speed dial. When there is difficulty, when there are challenges, where are you? Otherwise, doesn't matter where you are. 911 Bhakta. And then second one is what? Artharthi. A very pragmatic, practical person who understands that even Bhagavan must have the need. I will scratch your back, you scratch my back. Make my child, son or daughter, pass these exams. Oh Bhagavati, I will present you with a 9-yard sari. Bhagavati says, very, very sorry. So this is the Artharthi, the gift exchanging bhakta. Then what? Then Jignasu. Who are you? Who am I? How am I related to you? This is the third form. And finally, Jnani, who is non-separate from myself, Bhagavan says. Jnani tu Atma eva me matam. I consider the Jnani to be what? Myself alone. So those are all stages that one goes through, and again, it's not linear. There is a lot of back and forth, and that's okay because Udara Sarva Evate. Udara Sarva. They are all great. They're all exalted. They're all wonderful. They're all great. Oh Arjuna. Because, like I said, even the 911 Bhakta doesn't have to think of Bhagavan at all, but still chooses to do that in times of difficulty. That is the greatness, his or her greatness. And so here, this graduation into seeing Bhagavan as the end. Not as a means to an end. That causes a lot of insecurity and uncertainty. And this is addressed in the next verse of reassurance, a very famous verse coming right in the middle of the Bhagavad Gita. So it is in the 9th chapter and in the middle of the 9th chapter. Ananyashchintayanto maam. Ye janah paryupasate. Yesham nityabhiyuktanam. Yogakshemam vahamyaham. Together again. Ananyashchetaya Roma. Jana Paryupasate. This verse is already famous, made more famous by the Life Insurance Corporation of India. Yogakshemam vahami aham. Very clever appropriation. Didn't even have to pay copyright fees. Outright plagiarism, standing in for Bhagavan. So here, when we look at a verse in Sanskrit, you catch hold of the verb. What is the verb here? Vahami. Vah, to carry. Vahami. I carry. I will carry. I carry. I am carrying. What are you carrying? Yoga and Kshema. This is Bhagavan talking. Shri Bhagavan Vacha. And what does Bhagavan say? I will carry yoga and Kshema. Never mind what yoga and Kshema are, we'll see that presently. But then whose yoga and Kshema? Your yoga and Kshema. Because Bhagavan is free of wants. Yoga Kshema can be roughly translated as wants and needs. Bhagavan being free of needs and wants, Bhagavan is not saying, I am packing myself a lunch and I am carrying my own yoga kshema. Whose yoga kshema am I carrying? Your yoga kshema I am carrying. Technically, these words, when yoga is used by itself, it can mean many things. But when it is used along with kshema, that means a particular, thing. Yoga then is defined as apraptasya prapanam, the gain of that which is not yet gained. And if you make a list just now, you will require many more pens and papers. The list is long. I don't have this. I don't have that. And then, well, after all the lists are made, one important list is left behind. What is that? Bucket list. Only in this country they make bucket list. Bucket list means all the things I want to do before I kick the bucket. Kick the bucket is a polite way of saying die. Euphemism. All the things I want before I'm kicking the bucket, then this is a bucket list. India people don't bother with bucket list. Why? Punarjanma is there. Better luck next time. We say that as much. In the funerary rites, this is said. Perhaps I was not your ideal son or daughter. Next time, may you have this kind of a offspring. May you have this kind of a spouse. May you have these kinds of situations in your life. That all the things you did not have and did not enjoy, may you get them. We don't bother with bucket lists. But so many lists, so little time. Apraptasya prapanam, the gain of that which is not yet gained, and I want that in my life. And then certain things you gain with great difficulty after a lot of prayer, effort, and ayasa, lot of exhaustion. And you're afraid it will be taken away. Afraid what? It will go. And so that is the definition of the word kshema. Praptasya rakshanam kshema. That which I have gained, nobody else should get it, it's mine. I have to protect. So the protection of what is gained is kshema. This is what is yoga kshema. And then, yoga hacha, kshema hacha, yoga kshema. Yoga kshemam vahamyaham. We make it into a dvandva, samahara dvandva compound. We make it into a compound, a singular compound, yoga kshemam vahamyaham. I will carry this yoga and kshema. I will carry this. You don't have to worry about it. In other words, sit back, relax. Don't sit in the back seat and attempt to drive. You are not the driver. This is told to us in the Kathopanishad also. Atmanam rathinam vidhi, shariram rathamevatu. Buddhim tu sarathim vidhi manah pragrahamevacha. So like this, the whole setup is there. That's why when we look at the picture in the Bhagavad Gita, who is driving? Lord Krishna is driving. Arjuna is sitting in the back. Sit back, relax, enjoy the ride. This is the sum total of the verse at hand. Learn to sit back, because the more we try to control the uncontrollable, the more there is noise, interference. I let go. I learn to let go. This is a verse of learning to let go, which is very, very important, because the promise here is that you will get what you want. If not what you want, you will at least get what you need. Definitely. You will get what you need. Nobody can take that away from you. It is assured by Bhagavan, and Bhagavan in the form of karma phala data, the giver of the results of action, because your karma is yours. It cannot be shared. As Valmiki found out, it cannot be shared. Your karma is your karma. If you're meant to get something, it will come. You don't have to beat up all the people in front in order to get to the front of the line and push them away, and then present yourself and say me first. You don't have to do that. You can relax. If you're meant to get it, it will come. Where is the proof? The proof is in, actually, because this is all a pramana. A promise here is in the form of Bhagavad Vachanam. It is in the form of a pramana. It is in the form of a means of knowledge that has to be tested. How? By living it. Same thing with food. We can start with food. If you're meant to eat, food will come. Oh, even if I don't cook, even if you don't cook, maybe few days it may not come, but it will come. It will come. And we say that as much. What is that expression? The on every grain there is the, on every grain is written the name of the person who is supposed to ingest it. If you're not meant to have that, it will not come. And so this is actually a very freeing verse, because anybody who has done a certain analysis about one's life. The word for analysis in Sanskrit is mimamsa. It's all about me. Okay. So if I have done some self-analysis, vichara, mimamsa, then it is not rocket science. I immediately understand a very important fact. What is the fact? That the more I try to control my wants, needs, desires, and the manifestation of the desires, the less likely that it will fruition. We cannot really top Pujya Swamiji's way of expressing this. Anything, to put differently, to put according to how he would say, anything that I love is either illegal, immoral, or has too many calories. This is what he would say. Whatever the things that I love are is wrong, illegal, or it is unethical, or it is fattening. Therefore, I cannot have it. Whatever I want, I cannot have. Whatever I don't want, life gives me 3 helpings of it every single day. Then where is this promise? Yoga kshemam vahamyaham. What is this promise? In our frenzy of raga dvesha fulfillment, we don't see all the things that are already there. We don't see that in every step of the way, everything is being taken care. And especially put it in the context here of Vedanta study. The promise here is not just that Bhagavan will take care of everybody's yoga and kshema to a certain extent, that is true. Whoever invokes Bhagavan, that yoga kshema to a certain extent is taken care of. But Bhagavan is making a special promise to the fledgling Vedantin that is afraid to leave its nest or its nest egg, whichever may be applicable here. Like the bird sometimes has to be pushed out by the mother bird. It looks, oh no, too cold. Oh no, another day. Got used to the warmth and the softness of the nest. And here the nest is what? The nest of all, the nest is actually loses the S. It's the net. It's the net of all kinds of, it's a pasha. It's a net of endings. It's a finite net that is infinitely cast in the hope that the finite will become infinite. Never will it happen. Never ever. Dream on, darlings. That's all we have to say. It will never happen. The finite will never become infinite, just like the night and day will never meet. Light and darkness cannot be in the same place at the same time, and similarly, the finite and the infinite cannot occupy the same place at the same time. Let go of the finite, the infinite being you becomes a matter of knowledge and pursuit, different kind of a pursuit, a cognitive pursuit. And you cannot say, I would like a little bit of the finite and a little bit of the infinite. Dono sat sat. Why can't you be accommodative? Why are you Vedantin so extreme? Why can't you say a little bit of finite, little bit of moksha, little bit of samsara? I'm happy with it. Bhagavan is not happy with it. And ultimately, you are also not happy with it. You are also not happy with it. Otherwise, nobody would be pursuing Vedanta at all. If everybody was happy with a little bit of moksha, a little bit of samsara. The two are like oil and water. They cannot ever mix. And so, therefore, the promise here is once you start on this cognitive pursuit, the more you are taken in by this pursuit, the pursuit being a manifestation of Bhagavan, you are embraced by Bhagavan. Totally embraced by Bhagavan. And so what? So that means that the one who has hung all their hopes on Bhagavan, Bhagavan has to take care of all the hopes and desires. Yoga kshemam vahami aham. So one tests the Vedanta Shastra waters with a toe. Too cold, too deep, too much. I can't do this. What about my job? What about my life? What about this? What about that? Try. Try. Plunge in. And then what will happen? You can see for yourself. In fact, people tell this to me all the time. I was afraid. And then I found that the more I study and the more I do this, things just take care of themselves. Why? Because the things were already being taken care of themselves. I did not know. I thought I was the doer. I thought I was the shaker. And I thought I was the mover. But now I understand that's all a false front that I had. I had my own restlessness, and so I convinced myself that I was the mover, shaker, and I was the agent of action. In fact, the study of Vedanta brings one very close to the vision. What is the vision? That I am not the doer. The bhakti itself brings one very close to that, and Vedanta clinches this vision. I am not the doer. Becomes very, very clear. The only thing that I'm doing is losing the self-ignorance, and then what? All the other things come. And this is the promise that is not made just in the Bhagavad Gita, it is made also in the Upanishads. The Brihadaranyaka Upanishad says that in the chapter 3, that whatever the person visualizes, it just manifests. Rathaha, in those days, chariots. You can change it to Rolls Royce and BMW and all that for updating it. And then the Rathaha, the person imagines. The Ratha is not Ratha, it is just Manoratha. At this point, it is imagination. But then it translates into Ratha. Then you can't just have Rathas, you need a person to drive, and the drivers also are manifest. Everything is manifest for the person of knowledge. And this is said in detail in this portion of the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, but it is succinctly mentioned in the Taittiriya Upanishad, Sarvan Kaman Brahmana Saha, in the form of Brahman Samashnute. All the desires are experienced, enjoyed in one fell swoop, not kramena, not one by one. Everything is there. And then on the other side, also, we hear in the Mundaka Upanishad, Atmagyam hi archaye bhutikamaha. Bhutikamaha means people who are interested in all kinds of short-term remedies. Bhuti means that which becomes, and then what? Becomes finite. That which is born to die. So Bhutikamaha, the people who are interested in short-term material gains, may they worship who? Atmagyam. Atmagyam means the person of knowledge. May they worship the person of knowledge. May they worship the Jnani. What is the connection? The connection is that the Jnani is the master of all yogakshemas, but the Jnani has no wants. So therefore becomes a altar for your wants. The Jnani becomes an altar for your wants, and surrendering to the Jnani, using the Jnani as an altar of surrender, all your wants are fulfilled. Very interesting. So there it is kind of paradoxical, but then everything about Vedanta is paradoxical. So when I don't want, it comes. When I stop wanting, it comes. I can't stop wanting without the help of Bhagavan. And then when I grow out of the wants, it comes because then I can enjoy it freely without being dependent on it. That is the idea. There's the story, uh, a, a famous story of a boy, a young boy that was taking care of his chronically ill grandfather who was bedridden. And then the boy, they lived somewhere in nature. And so the boy would take a couple of hours in the afternoon and go swim and call out to the geese and the swans and the herons. And they would all come. He had names for them. And then they would all come. He would splash the water, they would splash back. It was just so wonderful. And then the little boy would go to his grandfather and tell him everything that happened. And he says, you know, the swans have babies, little swanlings, ducklings are there. And, you know, I just have such a wonderful time. The grandfather grows more and more wistful and one listening to all this, and he says, I wish I could go. I wish I could also do this. I tell you what, can you bring me one swan so that I can pet it here itself on the bed? The boy is eager to please. Says, of course, Grandpa, no problem. I'll go get a swan today. They all just come. They're all sitting in my lap. The next day, the boy goes. To his utter shock, the waters are still. Dead silence. Not a single bird in sight. No swan, no heron, no water birds, nothing. And he calls them out one by one. Where are the babies? Where are the mummies? Where are the daddies? Come, let's play. And I want to take one of you to the grandfather. They all hide. He doesn't see them at all. And then he goes to the grandfather in tears and says, I don't know what happened. None of them came. I called and called and called, and nobody came. The grandfather feels very sad. He says, I should not have spoiled your innocence. I should not have interfered with this. I don't want any swans. You just go. You just go and enjoy. Forget about bringing me anything. He says, can I go now? Because I have missed them. I have not played with them. Yes, please go now. Don't worry about me. Just go now. And as soon as he goes, all of them are as though waiting for him. And this story tells us a very important fact of life, that there is a certain grace in letting go. And the Bhagavad Gita reiterates this. How? It's not just about letting go. It's about letting go of that over which I have no control. Otherwise, we can live in some kind of a stagnation. Oh, the Bhagavad Gita asked me to let go. I'm not going to do anything now. That is tamas. And people say this even about Vedanta. If I was supposed to study Vedanta, eyes fly up for some reason. If I was supposed to study Vedanta, it would have come. So everything, yoga, kshema, mahamya, it should have come. This is a rank distortion of the Bhagavad Gita. No, but don't you agree that everything should come? Everything is given by Bhagavan. Yes, I would agree with you if you had that same attitude that you have about Vedanta for the next lunch. Okay? Yeah. If I'm supposed to eat, lunch will come. If you have the same attitude, then yes. But certain things people pursue avidly. Only for Vedanta, this kind of a thing is reserved. Reverse this, okay? Yeah, this is what the verse says. The verse is all about reversing this state of affairs. Spiritually, I have to be alert. Spiritually, I have to pursue, because that is where the pot of gold lies, in the form of happiness, in the form of fulfillment. Other things I can let go. This is what I cannot afford to let go. Because this is the only way to lose the self-ignorance. There is no other. Nanyaf pantha vidyate ayanaya. No other way. No, what about this yoga, that yoga, so many things. And people will give this example. Well, if there is a temple on the top of the hill, I can go driving, I can go walking, I can go trekking, I can go rolling, because there is a rolling seva. You tie your hands and legs and roll up the hill as a penance. So I can go so many ways. To that we say yes. But once you are in the temple, there is only one door to the sanctum. Only one door. All other things we do not deny. They are all preparations for the mind to be in a place of receptivity to this knowledge. And the person who takes this plunge is assured of everything that is happening will continue to happen without you lifting a little finger. The more you study Vedanta, the more this becomes extremely evident in one's life. Obstacles recede. They have to. They have to recede. Why? Because at some point in the quest, I realized that I was the obstacle. So when I rightened myself, obstacles naturally receded. Obstacle recedes. Obstacles recede, and then along with that, there is more shanti, more fulfillment, and a more sense of relaxation. That is what it is all about. It's not about being tense and upset all the time. It is about being relaxed. This is what I have to do. This is where I have to grow. Therefore, I have to let go. In letting go, I grow. Letting go saves me from getting low. Okay? This is a nice affirmation to have. And so, for the student of Vedanta, this is a special, very, very special assurance. How do you know it is only directed towards students of Vedanta? Because it says right in the beginning, Ananyaha chintayantaha mam. Chintayantaha, chinta here is not worry. Chinta here is contemplation. Ananya. Ananya means what? Non-separate. Contemplation of that which is non-separate from me. One meaning. So, contemplation of myself as non-separate from Bhagavan. The pursuit itself is that of non-separation, and I am non-separate from Bhagavan. That is the pursuit. Understanding this. And again, it's not a one-time understanding. Ananyaha chintayantaha ma. Always. Ye janaha paryupasate. Paritaha means sarvataha, everywhere. Upasate. Upasate means worship. Upasate, even though it sounds singular, it's actually plural. Upaste, upasate, upasate. The second conjugation verbs are all like that. Upasate, plural. Ye janaha, those people who worship me. As what? As non-separate from myself. This can be a jnani, but here who it is? The person who is dedicated, committed to Vedanta. Tesham, for them. Who is this them? Nitya abhiyuktana. It's not that one time they thought, oh, it's nice to think of myself as non-separate from Bhagavan. One time discrete thought, no. Tesham means these people. Who are these people? These are the people who are at it night and day, year after year, all the time. Because as we saw, this pursuit has many blocks and obstacles in the form of my own resistance, my own fears. So those people who are not afraid to make this the primary pursuit in life, they may be doing many other things. They may be going here, going there, pursuing other ideas and other things in life, ambitions, goals. But this is the primary pursuit. Other things subserve. Like our stock example. What is our stock example? Going to the airport. Supposing I'm going to the airport. Then I find I have a lot of time. There is no cars on the road. And then I say, oh, I just left really early. Let me stop at the grocery shop and get something to eat on the plane. So I go to the grocery store. When I'm at the grocery store, what is my destination? Airport. Naturally. I'm not buying all the things I need for the house. I don't get lost and start shopping. I only go to pick up something to eat on the plane. Then having done that purchase, I find I still have a lot of time. Then I find that in the car, there is all this dry cleaning needing to be dropped off. Then I go to the dry cleaners. Where am I going? Airport. Then after that, I find that I still have a lot of time. I have a friend living near the airport. Why it's taking so long? By chance, I just happened to call the friend, and the friend says, "Don't worry, you just come here. I'll drop you to the airport. Don't pay for parking at the airport. I'll drop you there. Come. We'll have lunch. I'll drop you at the airport." So between you and the airport, there were so many other pursuits, so many other things. You went shopping, you went dry cleaning, you went to visit a friend, you had coffee or you had lunch, whatever it is. So many pursuits. But the destination is not lost. This is what Ananya Chintanam involves. Without this being the primary goal, one goes, goal, round and round. This is exactly what is there. So many things. In between myself and moksha, similarly, there are a lot of other pursuits which I can enjoy. Education, job, marriage, children, all of them are stops along the way. But they are just what? Stops along the way. They are not, you don't get lost there. You don't get totally lost. You have your wits about you and you say, okay, this is fun and I'm still headed where? Don't say airport now. Okay? If you say airport, see me after class. Moksha is my destination. There is a difference between Drishtanta and Darshtanta. Drishtanta example, Darshtanta that which is exemplified. This is where I'm headed. This is who I am. And so many stops along the way, it's okay. But all the stops subserve, all the other things subserve. My sights are set on moksha. And when I do that, everything goes smoothly because I'm following my swadharma. Oh, raising children? No. Swadharma is the reason, fulfilling the reason for which I have been granted a human birth. Durlabham trayam eva etat. These three things are difficult to gain. 3 M's. What are they? Manushyatvam, mumukshatvam, mahapurusha samshrayah. Human birth is difficult to gain. Of all the things one could be, somehow you followed the moksha board and then are in this line. Having a human birth is already a big thing taken care of for the pursuit of moksha. Then what? Then mumukshutvam, the desire to be free, one has found out. And Guru Prapti, Shastra Anugraha, Guru Anugraha has taken place. Teaching is on. Therefore, what? I go with this flow. I don't second guess. I don't really all the time fall back. This is what one has to understand. And this is how one grows. So, ananyaha chintayantaha mam ye janaha paryupasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam avahami. Try it. Write down the question. There will be questions afterwards. So, tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahami. Are you reassured? Not quite. Because this has to be tested yet. Somehow the feeling is, I have to test this. I have to do this. I have to understand this properly. And therefore, the next reassurance after this, we go backward from the 9th chapter, we go where? 4th chapter, we go from the 9th chapter. Because the questions that arise are very interesting. I am pursuing Vedanta, but I have a lot of regrets. I'm not spending time with so and so. I'm not doing my duties. I'm not doing all this. Or there might be other kinds of regrets. Oh my God, OMG, look at my life. All the things I have done before I learned D for Dharma, before I learned the ABCD of Vedanta, so many things I did in life I'm not proud of. I have guilt, I have hurt, I have regret. In other words, I don't deserve to study Vedanta. I don't deserve Bhagavan's compassion. And then how can I carry this lot of guilt and hurt? How can I carry this baggage? This baggage where I cannot stand myself. And yoga kshema may be, carried by Bhagavan. But what about the guilt and hurt that I am carrying? Who will forgive that? You see, in addition to reassurance, we also want to be redeemed from all the guilt and hurt of life. Omissions and commissions. My own omissions give rise to, my own omissions and commissions give rise to my guilt. The omissions and commissions of other people in relation to me give rise to hurt. Why didn't they do this? Why didn't they do that? This makes one ripe for savior psychology. I want to be saved. Whole lot of religions are there whose main thing is about being of saving. Pujya Swamiji was famously asked at the Millennium World Religion Conference of the Millennium in 2000 in New York. After he gave his address, somebody stuck a mic to his face and said, "Do you have a message for the new millennium?" He said, "I don't have a message, I have a prayer." "What is it?" "Oh God, please save me from all saviors." This was the prayer. It really is a wonderful prayer. Save me from all saviors, pun intended. Let me not, because of my vulnerability, fall a prey to anybody who is touting something. It could be a philosophy, it could be some kind of what's the word for it? Some kind of a unscrupulous promise. Come here, I'll save you. Come here, I'll give you vairagya. Oh, really? You'll give me vairagya? How? Give me all your money. Simple. Vairagya is instantly yours. I'll give you instant vairagya. Give me all your savings. Is this a promise? This is outright robbery. But yet, in everybody, there is this kernel of wanting to be saved. I want to be saved. I want somebody to tell me I'm okay. Same thing. Saved is a much more extreme desire for that reassurance of what? I want to be okay. And so the next verse addresses this need, because without this without this reassurance, one cannot go forward. And what is that forward? Knowing what Bhagavan is. One cannot do unless this division of guilt and hurt, which is plaguing one from within, is taken care of. अपि चेदसि पापेभ्यः सर्वेभ्यः पापकृत्तमः सर्वं ज्ञानप्लवेनैव वृजिनं सन्तरिष्यसि अपि चेत् together अपि चेदसि पापेभ्यः सर्वेभ्यः
पापकृत्तमः
ज्ञानप्लवेनैव वृजिनं सन्तरिष्यसि. The feeling that one is a papi, very, what's that? Proliferating feeling. I'm not okay. I have done too many things wrong. I cannot forgive myself, and there is no redemption anywhere else. This is the feeling. And other people also don't forgive easily. That is also there. And there's all this thing. I'm upset with you. Why? I'm not going to tell. If I'm upset with you, I should tell. I did not like what you did. I did not like what you said. I did not like how you behaved. You know, in service of full being upfront, full transparency, I should be able to tell. No, I won't tell. You should know yourself if you love me. Are you? I'm not an antaryami. Yeah. How can I be? How can I know? I sneezed, but if you took it as a bad omen, then you have to tell me. So next time I feel a sneeze coming on, I'll run away. I'll do that. Because I care for you, I will run away the next time the sneeze comes. So each time I cough and sneeze, if there is an offense that is taken, I should know. That I should know. But then there is that feeling that, oh, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to forgive. I can't forgive. It's too much. It's too much because if I feel it's too much, it's because I have to work with my tolerance threshold. I have to do that. It's not the problem is not with the other person whose behavior I do not have a say about. So similarly, my own omissions and commissions make me a puddle on the floor, and then other people's omissions and commissions make me what? Evaporate. This is what happens. I cannot be myself. Guilt and hurt are the, what should I say, pillars of samsara. Pillars of samsara. Samsara stands on the legs of guilt and hurt. And Bhagavan makes it such that sometimes the guilty one marries the one that is hurting. Very interesting match. The guilty one keeps apologizing, and for the hurt one, it's never enough. And so goes the world, round and round. There has to be a stop there. And then if I don't use my brains, my buddhi properly, I'll become vulnerable to charlatans who promise redemption one way or the other. Give me money and all your things are resolved. You are saved. Follow me, you are saved. Do this for me, you are saved. And then what? Then there is more hurt and more guilt as a result of this. So this is why this particular promise is given. Beautiful verse in the 4th chapter. Api chedasi papebhyah sarvebhyah papakrittamaha. O Arjuna, it is addressed to Arjuna and through Arjuna to all of us. Even if you are sarvebhyah papebhyah papakrittamaha. Papakrit means the doer of papa, means you are irredeemable. You have done so much papa, let us say. This is a hypothetical statement. Arjuna is not being called a papi by the Lord. It's a hypothetical statement. Aksheparthe. It is for the sake of analysis. Vichara, this statement is being done. The Lord is not telling Arjuna, you are a sinner, you are a papi. No. In fact, we don't have the word sin. Papa is just things that have gone wrong due to lack of viveka. And so, supposing you are what? You think yourself to be somebody who has done a lot of things wrong. And supposing you say to yourself, here is where I come first. I come first in one matter and one matter alone in the whole world. I'm the papiest of all the papis. I have done the most, Papa. I am the most unforgivable. Then, if you want to be redeemed of all the wrongdoings, not only in this life, but in all the other lives, simple solution is given. Bhagavan doesn't say, I am your savior. No. Simple solution is given. What is that? Patha Vedantam. Study Vedanta. What's the connection? Study Vedanta and the Papas are gone. How? How? We'll find out in the next session. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. We'll take a 15-minute break and then come back.
चाय वाटतं ना.